In round 2, Charlton is paired up against international master Chakraborty Mayank from India. Let's have a look at the game. Charlton starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. We have Rai Lopez on the board. Main line, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, castle, and black has delayed pawn to d6, which indicates that he might play the Marshall gambit. So Charlton opts for an anti-Marshall move, pawn to a4. Black plays bishop b7, protecting the rook on a8. Magnus Carlsen played the rook to b8 in a few of his World Championship games against the Mnyasta. Black plays bishop b7 rather. Pawn to d3, both sides develop. Bishop to d2 is an idea to prevent the knight from going to a5 for the moment. Black develops, white plays knight c3, and the moment the bishop got blocked, the knight jumped to a5, chasing the Rai Lopez bishop. White, of course, doesn't want to give it up. Black gets to expand after getting the knight out of the way. White opens up the a file, and Charlton plays knight e2, perhaps missing an opportunity here to gain a small little advantage. In this pawn structure, the d5 square is a bit frail for black, so bishop to g5, attacking one of the main defenders of the d5 square, would have been strong. And after pawn to b4, removing the defender, and knight d5 would have established quite a nice position there for the knight on d5. If black instead had taken the knight on c3, then bishop takes bishop, and an in-between move taking on b2, white can simply play rook to b1. And here white has himself an in-between move with knight to d2, preventing the nice c4 looking move. And then white will soon capture on b2 with a very comfortable position. Coming back to the game, instead knight to e2 was played. Knight to c6, getting the knight back into the center. Knight to g3, typical Rai Lopez maneuver with the knights. Black expands again with pawn to d5. We have a trade on d5. What if white played knight to f5 over there? It looks nice, but black would capture on e4, and after recapture, black can remove the defender of the knight. And if white would capture on e7, black would capture with the knight, and the bishop would protect the knight on e4. Instead, if white had captured on e7 first, queen takes e7, pawn takes pawn, and rook fd8 would be very good for black, the comfortable position. Coming back, instead, Charlton played pawn takes d5, knight takes, pawn to c3. Black was thinking about doubling up on the a file. White chased the bishop, chased the rook with the bishop. They get to trade on a1, and knight f4 signals some heat on g2 with the bishop on b7 coming into play. And here white plays pawn to d4. You might want to know why not knight takes e5 over here. If knight takes e5, simply captures and g2, and white's kingside collapses. So white played pawn to d4 over there. After pawn takes pawn, Charlton continued with pawn takes pawn over there. Again, he had an opportunity to perhaps play rook takes e5 over there, which was a very, very difficult move to assess, because after knight takes e5, white would have this idea of getting the knight, also attacking the queen at the same time. And after queen d6, something like bishop takes f2 would be good. But instead, after rook takes e5, black would have options like rook to a8 or knight takes g2 with super complicated play. Instead, Charlton took on d4, and black struck with knight takes g2. White went rook to e4, trying to block the diagonal. Of course, after king takes g2, everything opens up on the diagonal, and the bishop on b7 is smiling, and black will regain his material. Rook e4 was played, knight takes d4, the diagonal opens up anyway. Knight takes e5, queen joins the attack. Bit of desperation there, taking on f7. What else to do? Black could have captured on f7. Instead, he shuffles to the corner and allowing the rook on f8 still to be a player in the attack. Queen to f1, attacking the knight. Black captures the rook on e4. Queen to f5. He abandons the knight on g2, but he's double attacking these knights and he will not lose any material. Queen takes, queen takes, queen to g4. The bishop drops. Bishop to c3, punning the knight, and queen f5. And that is it. Since queen takes queen, black will recapture with the knight and keep his material advantage. Tough game for Charlton. Really nice game played by the international master from India. That's all for today.